and members of Parliament are expected to deliberate on a couple of motions and bills this afternoon, starting with a procedural motion spearheaded by the leader of the majority party, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. The procedural motion on the limitations of debate and sessional papers. In pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders 97.1, the House orders that each speech in a debate on any sessional paper shall be limited as follows: a maximum of 2.5 hours, with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving, and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, with the chairpersons of the relevant committees, if it's not moved by the chairpersons of the relevant committee, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time. And the mover shall be called upon to reply, and further, the priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party in that order. Also, the procedural motion on the limitation of debate on the reports of the constitutional commissions and independent offices. This by the leader of the majority party, in pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders 97.1, the House orders that each speech in debate on reports of the constitutional commissions and independent offices be limited as follows: a maximum of 4 hours, no more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving, and 10 minutes in replying. A maximum of 30 minutes for the chairpersons of the relevant committees, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except for the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and the priority be accorded to the chairpersons of the relevant committee, the leader of the majority party, and the leader of the minority party in that order. Also on the procedural motion on the limitations of the debate on the annual estimates and committee of supply, the leader of the majority party. This, that the pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97.1, that the House orders each speech in a debate on the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on budget estimate contemplated under the Standing Orders 239 and 240 be limited as follows: that the general supply debate has a maximum of 3 sittings within 30 minutes for the mover in moving, and 15 minutes in replying, to a maximum of 15 minutes for each of the chairpersons of the departmental committees, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that the priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party. And the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, has walked into the House for the third session of the afternoon sitting, today being Wednesday, February 14, the session that just commences at 2:30. And I now hand over you to the plenary.
Mheshimiwa, tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umetua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala haki wa wanadamu, tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Twakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kuyafikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako siendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umesikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. We have quorum to transact business. This is very encouraging so far. Clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this afternoon I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, February 14th, 2024, in the afternoon sitting. Honorable Speaker, the first item is approval granted under Article 223 of the Constitution from the Contingencies Fund in the financial year 2023-2024 from the National Treasury. Second, reports of the Auditor General financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein in respect of the following: A, Witness Protection Agency Staff Housing Mortgage Scheme Funding, Office of the Registrar of Political Parties Staff Mortgage and Car Loan Schemes. C, State Officers and Public Officers Motor Car Loan Scheme Fund. D, Judiciary Mortgage Scheme. E, the Judiciary. F, Business Registration Service. G, State Law Office and Department of Justice. H, Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. I, Teacher Service Commission. J, State Department for Environment and Climate Change. K, Development Receiver of Revenue Statements. I, Revenue Statements of the Business Registration Services. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Thank you. Chairperson, Decentralized Funds Accounts Committee. Mulyungi, is that you? Go ahead. Are you ready?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 13th February 2024. Second report of the Decentralized Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the financial statements for the National Government Constituency Development Fund for 5 constituencies in Vihiga County for financial years 2013-2014, 2014-2015, and 2015-2016. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Mulyungi.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion: that this House adopts the report of the Decentralized Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the financial statements for the National Government Constituency Development Fund for 5 constituencies in Vihiga County for financial years 2013-2014, 2014-2015, and 2015-2016, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 13th February 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, may I give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Public Accounts Committee on its examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements for the national government ministries, departments and agencies for the financial year 2020-2021, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, the 30th November 2023. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
We have no questions. At statements, Musa Sirma. Is Otienda Amolo here?
Mr. Speaker, I wish to issue the following statement with the objective of updating you.
Just hold. Wandai, this is in response to a statement raised by a senior counsel, Otienda Amolo. I would want to believe you'll hold this brief. Will you? You don't answer the speaker by saying, yeah. You just say, yes, Mr. Speaker. It's just decorum. You say, yes, Mr. Speaker, or Madam Speaker. Pardon? Well, that's how you have been interacting with the public. Go on, Musa.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to issue the following statement with the objective of updating you on the status of the various issues concerning members with regards to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Allocation to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. The National Government Constituency Development Fund was allocated a total of 53,531,500,000 in the original budget of financial year 2023-2024. A further 4.4 billion was allocated to the fund under Supplementary Estimate 1, whereby 3.4 million was distributed to 290 constituencies as a conditional grant towards construction of classrooms and integrated learning centers with junior secondary schools, while 1 billion was additional allocation to the 17 constituencies in Nairobi County for school infrastructure development. A total budget allocation for 2023-2024 financial year is therefore 57,931,500,000. The status of disbursement of funds to the from the National Treasury to the board. The National Treasury letter reference AG 13/51/volume 479 dated 9th of January 2024 to the Speaker of the National Assembly committed to schedule monthly disbursement of 10 billion effective January 2024 to ensure that the full allocation is disbursed by the end of the financial year, that is June. Following the undertaking of the 10 billion undertaking, Kenya shillings 10 billion was disbursed to the board in the month of January 2024 and has so far been disbursed to the constituencies. Further, the National Treasury letter reference AG 13/51 volume 4 of 81 dated 13th of February, that is yesterday, has confirmed that plans are underway to release 10 billion by the end of February. That is the letter of February. Status of preparation and submission of project proposal for 2023-2024 financial year. The board, in a circular to the fund account managers, reference NGCDF B/CEO/NGCDF circulars volume 2, 34 dated 29th of August 2023, required constituencies to submit project proposal by 30th of November 2023. By Wednesday 14th of February, that is today, 289 constituencies had submitted their project proposals to the NGCDF board. So only one constituency has not submitted. Disbursement to the constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Section 5(1) of NGCDF Act, each and every disbursement from the fund shall be approved and recorded in the minutes of the board. In this regard, and I've noted the challenges faced by the various constituencies in financing urgent administrative and bursary requirements, the board resolved to disburse at least 30 million per constituency that had submitted their project proposal to cater for education bursary, emergency, administrative, and recurrent expenditure. Mr. Speaker, we have attached a list of an annex of the disbursement. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Order, Jared Okello. You don't have to stand before you're given an opportunity. And we transact electronically. Just go to intervention, and I'll give you. Elachi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. While I appreciate what the chairman is saying, Mr. Speaker, I would wish to understand the 1 billion that was given to Nairobi County. We finalized everything as members of parliament, Mr. Speaker, last year. We are waiting, we've been awaiting, and right now, Mr. Speaker, as I speak, I have 5 schools I have had to make makeshifts for students to be able now to learn. And some are even now wondering, what do we do? Because even the dorms, right now, we have State House girls, they are really struggling. We have St. George's. We've had to now rethink to do a multipurpose hall very fast to ensure that we can put in the students. So I would wish to know, when is the 1 billion being released to the Nairobi County so that we can build the classrooms and be able now to take in all the students that we have taken, Mr. Speaker.
Robert Bukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as much as I appreciate what the chair has read, unfortunately, it ended prematurely because I was still waiting for him to be able to clarify. Honorable Speaker, what we've also learned is that not all members have got an equal share of the CDF money. Some constituencies have been given 30 million, while other constituencies have been given 60 million. What is the criteria for it? Because we are all equal members in this House. We all represent equal constituencies, and therefore there is no reason why another constituency should get 60 million while I'm getting 30 million. It's quite unfair, and I think that calls for this House to rise to the occasion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Musa Sirma, you record what members are saying. You'll have a response. Wandai.
Mr. Speaker, let me just say this, that first and foremost, the statement that has been issued by the chair of the committee dealing with NGCDF, my good friend, the Honorable Musa Sirma, is thoroughly underwhelming. Thoroughly underwhelming. Because we would have expected, Honorable Speaker, at the very least, to hear from the chair that this much money has since been disbursed to the constituency CDF account over and above the 10 billion shillings that we received in January. If we are to take you seriously. Remember, Mr. Speaker, that these commitments have been made before, but they have been floated. It was just in December, I think on 7th December or 6th, when you were told that by the end of the year, of December, we shall have gotten money in our accounts. It never happened. It never happened. Now, Honorable Sirma is coming here today, the 14th of February, still talking about the 10 billion that was released way back in January. Yet, we are only remaining with about 4.5 months to the end of the financial year. To the end of the financial year. And NGCDF is not just about bursaries. You know that. It's about projects. which have been planned for, projects which are earmarked to help the people down there. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this House must put its foot down. I know that the issue of exchequer release is affecting very many other sectors, including the road sector. Right now, Mr. Speaker, I know we are anticipating the second supplementary budget. Yet there are projects which were planned for in the main budget way back in June last year that are yet to be implemented. We rushed into the first supplementary budget, now we are going to the second one, yet projects which were planned for way back as June last year are yet to be implemented as a result of lack of exchequer releases. So if there's a problem, we need to be told what is the problem. Because as far as we are concerned, the government continues to collect money every day, every second, every minute, from Kenyans, us included. We need to know, what is it that is not happening? What is it? So on this issue of NGCDF and GAF, Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid that this House will have to put its foot down. It's something that we want to avoid, but we can't, Mr. Speaker. If only to jolt those who are responsible to do what that they are supposed to do. Because it appears that unless they are jolted, they can't do anything. The only language that these people seem to understand, Mr. Speaker, is action, positive action. Positive action. And the positive action must begin now, Mr. Speaker, if only to send a message. I don't know.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, as I conclude now.
Yes.
So we need a more categorical statement. Yes. Not those kind of things, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry to say this. Those ones remain empty promises. And we can't go by promises anymore, Mr. Speaker. They even actually made our Speaker look so bad in the eyes of the public. How dare you make our own Speaker look bad in the eyes of the public? By continuously lying.
Order, and
this policy, this tradition of lies is now taking a new turn.
Order, and I use parliamentary language.
Okay, I withdraw. I withdraw the term lie. Yes. And I substitute with untruth. Untruth. I substitute the word untruth for lie or mislead. I'm guided.
Thank you.
May I speak? Shamelessly misleading, I'm being told. Yes. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude that please guide us, help us, Mr. Speaker. If, for instance, we are to go at the pace in which we are moving, how sure are you, Honorable Sirma, that these monies, the 47 billion plus that is outstanding, is going to be disbursed by the end of this financial year? There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. And therefore, we need to move on a pro rata basis. Today is the sixth month of the financial year, the end, actually the 7th month. So we need at least half. We need, okay, at the very least, 60% of the total monies due, which is how much? It's over 35 billion shillings. So unless that is done, Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. These members have told me they are unwilling to proceed with any other business. I'm very sorry. I'm just conveying the message. You know, I'm just a messenger.
Thank you. You have made your
thank
point.
You. Thank you.
Whoever I give 3 minutes, Osoro, your time for 3 minutes. Give Honorable Osoro the
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know, on this issue of NGCDF disbursement, there is usually no minority or majority. It is something that we all agree together collectively. And while I share the sentiments that have been given by Honorable Pio and I, the minority leader, I'm also looking at the history and how we've also been operating in this House. A time like this, Honorable Speaker, last year, the disbursement to the constituencies of the NGCDF was about 15 or thereabout percent, or 14, it was actually 14 million shillings, to be exact, at a time like this in January. I tend to think, in as much as there is a bit of some slowness by the Treasury to release the exchequer to the NGCDF board, there has been an improvement. Because at least this time, can I be heard in silence, Honorable Speaker?
Order.
Can I be heard in silence?
Order.
No.
Order.
Let's be practical. Let's be practical.
Order, honorable members. Those are his views.
Those are my
will
views.
also be heard.
At a time like this last year, we heard about the highest constituency had received 14 million. This year, the lowest is 30 million. Honorable Speaker, those are facts. We have the records. If we go by that scale, then I wouldn't be wrong to say that by the time we close this financial year, just like it happened last year, that every constituency will have received the entire amount in their accounts. So, because last year we were at 14, but by May we were at 100%. We are now at about 30 million, the least. By May, I believe we'll be 100% latest. And I think it's also important for us also to be factual. Honorable Speaker, we are actually in financial crisis. It's true. We are in debts. We are faced with a lot of things. These are pronouncements that have been made by the head of state. And in fact, many of the challenges we are facing were caused by these very people who are shouting at me today here and their masters. And that is true. And I'm not, no, it is true, Honorable Speaker. So even as we say and complain, we also need to appreciate the fact that the Treasury has tried. At least we were able to pay for the Form 1s to go to school. We were able to sort some challenges that we had, and we'll be able to finish this. I submit, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. John Bandy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these are the statistics.
You have 3 minutes.
We are in the 8th month. This is 60% of the financial year. You have only disbursed 17.5%. That is very, very bad for budget performance. I want to take it from there. Secondly, for the 15 years, Mr. Speaker, that I was a member of parliament for Gwasi and Super South, there is no single time that we ever crossed December with less than 50%. You can go back to records. That last year was not MP for Super South. I am talking about my time as member of parliament for Gwasi and then Super South. So, Mr. Speaker, when we are talking about money being disbursed, let us look at it in a wider scale. This is affecting economic growth of the country, because if you don't give money to the grassroots for development, you are slowing general economic growth of the country. If you give money towards the end of the financial year, it has implications on budget absorption. So, Mr. Speaker, finally, I want to challenge the committee, and with all due respect to my senior colleague and friend, Honorable Musa Sirma, your committee is the worst in performance ever since I came to this parliament. Please don't take this matter lightly. It is your duty. It is not the duty of the Speaker, Mr. Speaker. It is the duty of the committee. That is why we formed that committee, to be in place to ensure that monies are disbursed together with the leadership of majority. And you find leadership of majority defending the executive when the executive is not releasing money, yet other ministries and state departments are receiving allocations, and I'm aware. So, Mr. Speaker, this matter should not be treated casually. We need money to go to the grassroots for development of our country. The country must move forward. And that can only happen if we get serious with this work. Let us not look at CDF as if it is money for members of parliament. It is not. This money belongs to the communities across the country. So this money should go there. I'm a nominated member of parliament, but I know I need money in Super South so that schools are developed. I need money there so that students get bursary. They don't come to my home every morning parents are coming to my home because they can't get money. So please, Mr. Speaker, the chairman should come out clearly and explain to this House what steps he's going to take to ensure that in the shortest time possible, all the disbursements are made to CDF accounts and not stories, the same stories we started hearing a year ago and the same stories we hear today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Gilgil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, today is Valentine's Day. There will be a lot of many empty promises in some quarters. And we are praying that Parliament is not one of them today. Because, Mr. Speaker, it is very disheartening for this Parliament to actually defend an already bad performance last year to actually mean it is good. Mr. Speaker, we have suffered, and right now, we have children in JSS. Even the money that is supposed to come through the Ministry of Education has not come. So we have children being sent home, aged 11 years, aged 12 years, because there is no infrastructure and there is no lockers in those schools, Mr. Speaker, and it is quite an unfortunate situation. And Mr. Speaker, you know, just recently, we saw Treasury announce very proudly that they have released all the monies for county governments, 100%, which is about almost 400 billion, Mr. Speaker. The money that is going to CDF is a mere 44 billion, Mr. Speaker, 44 billion. And Mr. Speaker, that's a mere 10%. And the money that goes to the counties, you are not even able to tell what does what. Where does that money go, Mr. Speaker? The money that is felt in the grassroots, the money that is felt in the constituencies and in the country is CDF, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I actually think the CS Treasury owes you an apology, because they have put you in a very funny position to speak on an issue that is not yours, the committee's work, Mr. Speaker, to make a promissory note to this House, and they have not honored it, Mr. Speaker. And what we have had today is an extended promissory note, Mr. Speaker. I think it is a time that we put our foot down, Mr. Speaker. This money is not for members of Parliament. This money is for our constituencies. It is for the whole country, Mr. Speaker, and the only equalizer in development that we can be able to see. So I think, the chair of CDF committee, there needs to be a bit of pulling up their socks in terms of performance. This money, this space, this speed is not acceptable. It is not working, and we are actually having children become victims and to be collateral damage in this mess, Mr. Speaker. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I've been in this House for the last 12 years. I've served in 2 parliaments, and this is the 3rd one, Honorable Speaker. And I want to remind my colleagues who are chairs and who are in leadership in this House that we have seen chairs of committees in the past. We have been able to assess their performance, including chair of the CDF committee. We have seen about 3 in the past before the current one. And what I'm seeing, Honorable Speaker, I see a situation where members of this House who have been given the responsibility to lead committees and to represent fellow colleagues who are members of Parliament, they behave as if they have become cabinet secretaries of the current government. So that anytime you go to television, anytime you are here, the way you address us who are your colleagues is as if you are sitting here as the Minister for Finance, as if you are sitting here for me. Honorable Speaker, I think what we are saying is this, and I want to agree with the Honorable Mbandi said. You know, for you to grow an economy, and I want to speak with an authority on this matter, for you to grow an economy, if you have no development activities, either in the rural or in the cities, you will never grow your economy. Economy grows because of the development budget. And when you look at what is happening, Honorable Speaker, it's as if this money, CDF money, goes to our pockets as members of Parliament. Far from the truth. It goes to do development. So colleagues who are in leadership, I want to urge you, please separate the executive and Parliament matters to do with financing. The budget of Parliament is less than 2% of the total budget of this country. It's about 1.02. And I wonder, as you are trying to tell us to keep on waiting and waiting, the ministries are doing their business on a serious note. So are we saying that you don't want members to support the local economies? And I agree with Wagari when she says, the only people who are working is this money, is the money which goes to the people. Governors have their money, and you can see what is happening. We all come from different counties. So please, colleagues, behave as if you are members of parliament and protect the independence of parliament when it comes to matters to do with functions of parliament. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Maclap. Give him a working mic.
I think it's working now. Sit on. So, Speaker, I am shocked to the
You have
board.
no mic.
Mr. Speaker, I am shocked to the bone marrow from the information given by my neighbor, Honorable Sirma. I am shocked to my bone marrow because he read a statement until he terminated it instantly. Meaning, his neighbor here and neighbor at home, Jepkonga. So, Speaker, truthfully speaking, this is my first time in Parliament. There is a big contradiction between being a member of Parliament and being an executive. So, Speaker, if you read there, it says for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We are the people who represent the interests of the very poor, the have-nots at home, the hustlers at home, Mr. Speaker. This is the only fund that equalizes Kenya. It doesn't deserve regions of who voted for government, and it doesn't deserve regions. It serves all the people of Kenya. This is the NGCDF and the NGAV, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this House, going forward, Mr. Speaker, before we appropriate any funds to any ministry, Mr. Speaker, the first charge going forward shall become the NGCDF so that we can be able to sort out the problems of this country. So, Mr. Speaker, I come from a constituency that is suffering from banditry. The children are on my shoulders. I got the first 30, I dispersed it. Now there is nothing. Mr. Speaker, it is a serious matter that Njuguna Ndungu and his treasury mandarins and my chairman here should actually put it as a priority for the nation to release this money this week so that we are able to send children to school, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are 8 months and we still have promises. I want to ask the leadership of this House. Last year, it was an extraordinary year. It was an extraordinary year because there was issues of court and CDF came late. So we cannot compare an extraordinary year and a normal year where we passed appropriation in good time. Why do other ministries receive their exchequer and yet CDF is not getting? Mr. Speaker, we must rise to the occasion and call all members of this House, regardless. Children of Kenya do not belong to Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. They are the children of the nation. They are the future. If we interfere with the future, we shall also interfere with this parliament and we shall interfere with the nation. Mr. Speaker, we must rise as members and defend the people of Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Nabii Nabwera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to add my voice on this issue. Mr. Speaker, I don't know how I want to describe that message from the executive. To the best of my knowledge, the chair CDF, the chair CDF committee of this House, this is totally embarrassing, totally unacceptable. You are putting all of our jobs on the line. Where? You are putting our jobs on the line. And my friend, you may not survive it yourself. Because, Mr. Speaker, the most heartening thing about this NGCDF, lack of disbursement, is that the schools in Kenya, instead of receiving 50% of capitation, they received 20. So in a week or two, the schools will not be operating. The day schools will send children home. What will we do with those children? Why are we trying to kill a generation? Mr. Speaker, I want to stand here and confirm that the head of this country stood in my constituency and said the economy has improved. And if the economy has improved, where is the money of CDF? Because the economy has improved. That is the head of state. I find it totally unacceptable that the CS Treasury, who misled the Speaker of this House by making a promise that in 2 months' time we are here, the money has not come. Mr. Speaker, the best thing for this House is, one, to tell the CDF committee to go and camp in the CS Treasury's office. They should leave this House. Waende wadai pesa. Secondly, that there should be no business until there is money released to CDF. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Owen Bayer.
Thank you very much. Actually, like my brother has,
Musa Sirma, I'll give two to then you respond.
Has said that it's actually very difficult at this particular moment to defend government. And CDF cuts across both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. But Honorable Speaker, it's also important, like my brother, Dr. The good doctor on the other side has said, Dr. Makali, the economy needs to grow, and it can only grow through development. And it is on that basis, Honorable Speaker, that I would like to say this, that at this particular point in time, in 2023, and you remember when we went to Mombasa and we had the issues, and when we were, you know, we only had around between 10 and 14 million in our accounts, like the whip has stated. And just like it has been said, the economy has grown. Yes, because right now, we have more money than at that particular time now. If you look at the statistics that we are supposed to have 50 billion for CDF. As we speak now, we have around 9 billion that has been dispersed. The Treasury, in their communication yesterday, has said they will disburse 10 billion shillings a month. And they disbursed in January 10 billion. We are waiting for the disbursement for February, 10 billion. And as they follow up that 10 billion per month, according to their letter, by the time we get to June, they will have disbursed all the 50 billion, and every constituency will have its money. And those are facts. And that is correct. Because if we disburse 10 billion February, 10 billion March, 10 billion April, 10 billion May, 10 billion June, we will have disbursed all the money that is required to be disbursed for NG CDF. And these are facts, and this is the reality. Today, Treasury may not be able to disburse all the money. But this letter that has come in today to Parliament is a commitment that the 10 billion, the 50 billion will be disbursed within the period for which it is required to have been disbursed. Honorable Speaker, we even know how expenditure goes in constituencies. Today, if Opio Wandai is given all his 157 million today, if it is in his account, will he spend it, all of it today? It's not possible. Absorption is not possible. This money must come on a formula. 10 billion every month, what can be managed? But today, if Jared Okello is given all...
Give him a minute.
1 minute. If all the money is given to him, 100+ billion today, what will he do with it? All of it. It has to be given in phases so that it is useful to the constituencies. Honorable Speaker, Order. I want to say this. We must be realistic even when we demand CDF. We must be realistic on the demands that we make. CDF must be paid within the financial year, and it will be paid within the financial year. I rest my case. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Atandi. Order, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that this matter is very, very serious, and I am ashamed as a member of Parliament when the Honorable Owen Baya is rising on the floor, Honorable Speaker, to defend the Minister for Treasury, who has already lied to this House and misled this House through a communication to you. It is shameful, Honorable Speaker, and Owen Baya, you are the reason this House is disrespected by everybody. This Parliament has no respect because of members like you. How can you stand here to defend Treasury CS, who has misled this House and disparaged the image of the Speaker?
Address your colleagues with decorum. Owen Baya is not on the floor for discussion.
Honorable Speaker.
Talk about CDF.
Honorable Speaker, as I conclude,
yes.
I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that in addition to CDF, the national government, the executive, has refused to disburse development expenditure which was passed in this House. There is no development that is going on in this country, Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, and every day, members of the executive are all over the country, driving in fuel guzzlers. The president is everywhere, all over the country, is launching non-existent projects. When we know very well that, Honorable Speaker, we pass a budget in this House, there's no development going on. Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, it's a shame that we have a government that is running this country. This country actually should be closed, my Honorable Speaker, because if every day you see the president is all over the country launching non-existent development projects.
Honorable
it is a shame.
Order, and there's a point of order from a colleague here.
Honorable Speaker, I stand on relevance because I think the matters pertaining to CTF affects both sides of the House, every member of this House. And it is wrong for Honorable Atandi to discuss the president who is not in this House when it comes to matters of CDF. Please, let's stick to CDF. We discuss about how we want it to be dispersed within our constituency, and more so the statement that was read by Honorable Chair for CDF. With all due respect, Honorable Atandi, let's leave the president out of this.
Indeed, Honorable Atandi, if you listen to the statement from Musa Sirma, there was no mention of the president anywhere. Talk about CDF, how it affects your constituency, and how it should be disbursed. That is the issue on the floor.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. Honorable Speaker, what I was trying to say, Honorable Speaker, is that there's no development going on across the country. CDF included all the projects that we passed here. We have 4 months to the end of the financial year. And if you walk across the country, there's nothing going on. Staff in ministries are just lazing around. So we have to really get serious. If we want this country to grow, it can't grow by just talking. So government side, you should stop talking and go and work, because you took over power because you had to serve the country. Yeah, that's the message I'm trying to tell you. You cannot come here and shout here and defend government when there's nothing going on. Yeah.
Today you have changed your sitting position.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Being a first-timer, I feel the name lie should apply in this parliament.
It will
for
not.
The first time.
It will not.
Reason?
Order.
Reason? Okay, I withdraw. But reason, Mr. Speaker, on 3rd of May, we had the Minister for Education, Mr. Machogu, when he came here, he told the women reps on the sanitary pads issue. On 3rd of October, I remember very well, we were told we were going to be given an answer. Till today, the allocation of sanitary pads, which is very paramount to our girls, is less than 1 billion. We are talking of less than 1 billion. This is second month our girls are in school, meaning they are not having their periods. That's why we cannot receive those essential things. As a woman, that is a cycle. you go every month. And when there's change of weather, you can go twice a month. When you eat well, it is a whole month. You can go 3 times, Mr. Speaker. Safe to you if you are pregnant, which we don't encourage our young girls at this particular time. We've not been given any answer, Mr. Speaker. Yet we are told Parliament is the house of order. It is a hallowed house. What are we? What are we, Mr. Speaker? Today is Valentine. Why are women in this house, most of us wearing black? Because women are killed, femicide, everything. So why I stood, Mr. Speaker, is to confirm that what we are told, I don't see where we are substituting, even if it's not a Parliament language, but everything, it looks like it is,
yes,
Mr. Speaker.
Order,
Thank you.
There's a point of order here. Have you finished? Donya, have you finished?
No, she has not. Mr. Speaker.
Order, Chepkonga, there is no disorder. She has finished.
No, she has not finished. She just said she has not. She has confirmed.
She's yielded the floor.
I had, Mr. Speaker. You know you are very far from. You know you are very far from her.
Yes. Give him the mic.
Why, Mr. Speaker? I respect Honorable Donya. I would just like her to, decorum requires that you consider the sensitivity of the matter that you are contributing to. 2, we all belong to different communities that are congregated here in this assembly. Some of the things are not said when in the midst of elders, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, there are children that are watching, there are boys. Boys are not told such kind of things at an infant age. And even my culture, Mr. Speaker, and I'm talking about my culture, I'm not talking about your culture, Honorable Samsam. Your culture is different from mine. Even yourself, the one who is shouting, that culture of yours allows you to say such things, but mine does not allow. You can even see the Deputy Speaker is also on a point of order to agree with me.
You have made your point.
What are you talking about? You sit down.
You have made your point.
Honorable Speaker, I want to ask Honorable Chepkonga, who's my MP, to apologize to the women and the girls of this country. There is nothing shameful, there is nothing to hide about having periods. Because Honorable Chepkonga has a wife who had periods, who gave birth, and who got pregnant by him. Yeah, order. So please, there is nothing shameful. Order. Nothing shameful.
Order, Deputy Speaker. Order. Honorable Nguna, you are rapidly distinguishing yourself as a major heckler in this house. And it's not a very good reputation. Order, honorable members. Order. I thought you were discussing very serious business. And you are now degenerating into trivia. That is not helpful. Women rep of Kilifi.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Nataka kuzungumzia kuhusu pesa za ngafu ambazo ni za uwakilishi wa kike ndani ya bunge. Wabunge wanazungumza kuhusu pesa za NGCDF peke yake. Sisi kama uwakilishi wa kike ndani ya bunge hili tuko katika dau hilo, hatujapata pesa hizi. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi Mbeyu nikiwa kwa mara ya pili ndani ya bunge hili, wanayoyafanya wabunge wa eneo bunge moja tunayafanya sisi zaidi. Kama ni kulipa bursary, kama ni kulipa pesa za full scholarship, mimi Mbeyu nafanya kule Kilifi. Kufikia saa hizi Mheshimiwa Spika, sijapata pesa zangu za project za ngafu first quarter na second quarter. Sijapata pesa za bursary. Watoto paka saa hizi ninazokuambia wamekaa kwa ofisi yangu, niliwaambia nitawalipia bursary, nitawalipia fee yao ya full scholarship kufikia last week kabla hatujafungua bunge, akaunti yangu haijaingia pesa. Wakilishi wa kike hapa hawana pesa. Hii serikali yetu ni nini inawatakia kizazi chetu cha watoto ambao ni wakwenda shule? Tuko tukisema elimu kwanza. Mimi pale Kilifi najulikana mama lao, mama G, elimu kwanza ndani ya Kilifi. Sijaweza kutimiza ndoto yangu ya kulipia hawa watoto karo za shule. Ninaonekana mimi ni muongo. Pesa tulizungumza hapa kuhusu sodo, Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiwa hapa, Waziri Machogu akiwa hapa, milioni 470 ambao ni milioni 10 kila jimbo, ni majimbo 47. Hatujaona hizi pesa paka leo. Umeelezewa mambo ya hedhi na wasichana wa kike, wengine wanapata mara 3, mara 4, wengine mara 5. Mheshimiwa Spika, wale wanakula vizuri kwao na si aibu. Nataka kuzungumzia, Mheshimiwa amesema ni aibu. Hakuna aibu ya hedhi ndani ya baba wala mama. Walio hapa ni wazazi wa watoto wa kike. Aibu ya hedhi inatoka wapi? Wao ni mabwana wa mabibi ambao wanapata hedhi. Aibu ya kuzungumzia mambo ya hedhi ndani ya bunge inatoka wapi? Mheshimiwa Spika, tunataka hizi pesa ziweze kutoka, watoto wetu waweze kwenda shule na tuweze kutimiza ndoto yetu ile ya 100% transition, watoto wa Kenya wasome. Asante Mheshimiwa.
Musa Sirma. Order, honorable members. Can you now listen to your chairman?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank all the members who have raised their concerns as concerning NGCDF. First, I would like to reply on the issue of 1 billion for Nairobi from Betrayal. Part of that amount of 1 billion, which has been brought to CDF, has never been given a special priority. It is part of the big amount of money which have been given to the CDF. The only option now is for us to discuss with the board so that they prioritize that 1 billion for Nairobi so that it is separated as a different entity or different amount of money, which is not the normal disbursement which usually comes. Second, Mr. Speaker, is our minority leader, my good friend.
All the concerns are generic. Don't answer each member in person.
Yes.
Just make a response to the issues raised.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want also to put the fears that this committee of my committee is the worst committee. I want to tell members.
Musa Sirma.
Yes.
Answer 3 issues. Why is there a delay? When is the money being dispersed? Is there going to be any delay thereafter?
Okay.
Whether you are competent or
because
not,
I wanted to put it clear, because I inherited a debt of 4.9 billion, and by the end of June last year, I had cleared all the pennies. Mr. Speaker, thank you for that, and I want to say that the National Treasury has committed to pay the 10 billion every month, and I want to take our members back to last year. Last year, the first disbursement we got of 4 billion was done in February, and another 4 billion before the end of February. That made a total of 8 billion by end of February. And Mr. Speaker, by the end of June, including the debt of 4.9 billion, were all paid. And I'm sure members whom we have been talking together last year, those who managed to interact with me, most of them were congratulating me for doing a good job. I don't know what changed. Because they were saying you have done a good job. What has
Give him the mic. Give him the mic.
I want you to trust me, members, because
I never let you down last year, and I will still do the same this year, because it is about disbursement, and I promise you by end of February, you have 20 billion shillings in your account. And the other of March, that makes 30 billion. And in April, you will have 40 billion. And in May, you will have 50 billion. And the balance of 7 billion will be paid in June. So it is as easy as that. Those are the mathematics which are there. So, Mr. Speaker, all this, it is all about trust. If you trusted me last year, you have a chance of trusting me this year. So I want to ask members, as we move forward, let us move with one spirit, that we have the hope that the future is bright, and our children will get their fees before the end of this month, and therefore we should be able to agree on the issues which we have put forward. And the plans which have been put by the government, Treasury are going to release that money. So, Mr. Speaker, we have commitment letters which we are working with, and therefore let us not refer to the commitment letters which were addressed before. Today we got a commitment, a firm commitment, and I have put it before you members, that you can read that commitment and hold me to it. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to stop at that.
Honorable members, order, honorable members. Thank you, Musa Sirma. As you know, the chair has no dog in this fight. It is your chair whom you elected who has given you an assurance. Let's give him the benefit of doubt. And I will also, as the leader of the House, as your speaker, exert some soft pressure elsewhere to see if the money can be forthcoming as quickly as possible. Let's now proceed back to order number 6 and invite Esther Passaris. I had approved a motion of adjournment for you to give notice of your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the Standing Order number 33-1, I rise to seek leave for adjournment of the House to discuss a definite matter of urgent national importance in regard to rising femicide in the country. Article 26 of the Constitution provides that every person has the right to life. This right is inalienable and accrues to every person regardless of age, gender, and social status. Sadly, there have been increasing cases of femicide and violence targeting women and girls in Kenya.
Can you give the member some water?
And especially in Nairobi County. This is disheartening and goes against the provisions of the law and basic human rights. Honorable Speaker, femicide is not just a crime, but a gendered crime and a violation of human rights. It is noted that the recent cases of femicide are not isolated incidents, but symptoms of a broader issue requiring urgent national solutions. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek leave for the adjournment of the House to discuss this matter of national concern with a view to exploring possible ways of curbing the widespread cases of femicide. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Have the requisite support. Thank you. Order. You have the requisite numbers. You may take your seats, honorable members. Order. Honorable Passaris. Order. Order, members. Members on their feet, take your seats. Order, order, Owen. Order. Order. Honorable Passaris, you have the requisite numbers to support your motion of adjournment, and I direct that You will move your motion after order number 14 or at 5, whichever comes earlier. And I'll allocate it 2 hours for debate. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, limitation of debate on sessional papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, session paper. That pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on any sessional paper shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 2.5 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party and the chairperson of the relevant committee, if the sessional paper is not moved by the chairperson of the relevant committee, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and further that priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party in that order. Honorable Speaker, I would like to ask the Honorable Jamatia to second.
Mr. Speaker, I second. Thank you.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order. Kisii Women Rep, take your seats. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on any sessional paper shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 2.5 hours, with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee if the sessional paper is not moved by the chairperson of the relevant committee. And at 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and further, that priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party in that order. I now put the question. Leah, take your seat. Take your seat. I'll now put the question, which is that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on any sessional paper shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 2.5 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party and the chairperson of the relevant committee if the sessional paper is not moved by the chairperson of the relevant committee. And at 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and further, that priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party in that order. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, procedural motion, limitation on debate on reports of constitutional commissions and independent offices.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the motion that pursuant to the provision Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in debate on reports of constitutional commissions and independent offices be limited as follows. A maximum of 4 hours with not more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying. A maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority be accorded to the chairperson of the relevant committee, the leader of the majority party and leader of the minority party in that order. Honorable Speaker, I request the women rep for Kericho to second.
Who is
women rep for
seconding? Kemei?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second.
Order, Honorable McClub. Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 971, this House orders that each speech in debate on reports of constitutional commissions and independent officers be limited as follows. A maximum of 4 hours with not more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving, 10 minutes in replying, a maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority be accorded to the chairperson of the relevant committee, the leader of the majority party, and the leader of the minority party in that order. I now put the question, which is that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 971, this House orders that each speech in debate on reports of constitutional commissions and independent officers be limited as follows. A maximum of 4 hours with not more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving, and 10 minutes in replying, a maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority be accorded to the chairperson of the relevant committee, the leader of the majority party, and the leader of the minority party in that order. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, procedural motion, limitation on debate on the annual estimates and committee of supply.
Next order.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97.1, this House orders that each speech in debate on the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on Budget Estimates contemplated under Standing Order 239 and 240 be limited as follows. A, 1, general supply debate. A maximum of 3 sitting days with 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying, a maximum of 15 minutes for each of the chairpersons of the departmental committees, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and the priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the respective chairpersons of the departmental committee in the order that they appear in the second schedule to standing orders. And 2, committee of supply, a maximum of 6 sitting days for the consideration of the proposed allocations to the respective votes or programs in the order specified in the schedule submitted by the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I ask the Honorable Pokose to second.
Honorable Speaker, I second.
Order, honorable members. I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 971, this House orders that each speech in a debate on the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on Budget Estimates contemplated under Standing Orders 239 and 240 be limited as follows. 1, general supply debate. A maximum of 3 sitting days with 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying. A maximum of 15 minutes for each of the chairpersons of the departmental committees, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the respective chairpersons of the departmental committees in the order that they appear in the second schedule on the standing orders. 2, Committee of Supply, a maximum of 6 sitting days for the consideration of the proposed allocations to the respective votes and programs in the order specified in the schedule submitted by the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Yes, Honorable Milemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and sorry, Honorable Bokose.